Morning, Ryan.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing? Everybody doing good today?
Good, yes.
Doing well? Doing well. That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Doing well and doing good for the world. That's great. So, all right. Well, we're about ready to get started. It's 10:30 Eastern time. So I want to talk to you guys today about new construction. So we are having, we sold almost 300 units last year at FRI of new construction homes. Why are new construction homes selling so well right now?
Interest rates are low.
No competition.
Supply and demand.
It's easier to buy a new construction. You don't have multiple offers. You're not in a bidding war.
You guys are all brilliant. Those are all the exact right answers. So what we're seeing a lot of is we had an agent, and and incentives and everything else that they offer, right? But we had an agent who just had an issue, and good, she's not on here. So, but she showed for months houses to a friend of hers. They went and saw several houses, and obviously put in a few offers and couldn't get them. Nod your head if you're familiar with that process.
Mhm.
And so they went on their own. She hadn't shown them houses maybe in a couple of weeks, and they hadn't been anything they liked, and they were she thought they were kind of putting it on the back burner for now. And went to a builder. This builder told them that this builder, according to the buyer, who's a good friend of the agent, told them that they would get a better deal without their agent.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So, so some of you guys have heard of that before.
Yeah.
That is not supposed to be the case, as you guys are familiar, or you guys are aware. And so they called her and told her right after they signed the initial paperwork, and called her and told her. And she called the I'm not going to say the home builder because we haven't resolved it yet, but she called the home builder, and the home builder said, oh no, that's crazy. We'd never do that. Have them call back right away, and we'll put you on the deal. And so they called back, and I don't know who they talked to, but they told them again, well, we can't do the same terms if you guys have a realtor. So yeah, and it's a big time home builder that you all are very familiar with. So we're working on it right now, but that's not the point. So I talked to the agent for a while, as I do you guys when you have issues. I talked to her for a while last night, and we talked about what we're going to do in the future, and what I want all of you guys to do in the future. When you first sit down and talk with buyers, we've always kind of treated, you either want to buy an existing house or you want to buy a new construction, right? We've always done that from the beginning. People will tell you right off the bat if they're interested in new construction. Well, guess what? They don't do that anymore because they don't know they're interested in new construction. They're probably not interested in new construction until they go. The buying process changes people. You guys have all seen this. The people who want 5.4s in Windermere end up buying a 3.2 in College Park. They completely change, right? They want to buy something on the ocean, and then they realize, they go look at them and they're like, wow, 500,000 doesn't get me much on the ocean. I'd rather buy a nice house on a golf course, or whatever it is that they want to do. So the buying process changes people, and it changes a lot of people right now to new construction because they can't buy anything else, right? They can't get an offer in fast enough. So that's what's happening. And they're going in and they're meeting with these. I think you guys could save yourselves a lot of heartache if you sit down with them right away and present new construction as an option. Does anybody follow that? Do you guys think that's a good idea in this market to do that? So
Yes.
I think that they've always been I've heard you guys talk on here. I've got a new client, and they're interested in new construction. So we're going to go look at new construction. But now they're not doing that. They're not telling you that up front. So I think when your initial conversation with them, I think you need to say, yeah, let's look in this area. Let's look in this area. You guys say you want a 4.3 with a pool and blah, blah, blah. But I think we also, in this market, probably need to consider new construction as well. I mean, you guys love selling new construction, right? It's easy.
Yes.
Historically, it's paid as well or better than than traditional, although now it's about the same. So they treat you a little bit worse because they don't need you right now, which we'll remember right when the market goes back the other way. When this market evens back out and is not so much of a seller's market, they're not gonna sell as well. And these are the ones. These aren't the people who are saying right now, I want a new house. You know, you have a lot of buyers who want a new house. I don't want somebody else's taste. I don't want their this. I don't want their that. I want a brand new house. Well, now you're getting people who are, I guess I'm just gonna have to pay a little extra and get a new house. Might as well. If I'm gonna have to pay extra anyway, I might as well get a brand new house, right? So, and a lot of them are going through the process of even going through inspections on an existing house and saying, having to argue about a roof and having to argue about that. And they say, you know what? Well, we're gonna have to replace this roof in 5 years. We might as well buy a new house, right? So what I want you guys to do, to consider doing when you're meeting with new clients, is to say, let's also consider new houses, new construction. Okay. Now, if you're going to do that, this is where work comes in. You better know what you're talking about. Get out there and find out about new construction. Don't just say, you need to, well, let's also look at a new construction, google.com, and go find something, right? You want to be an expert on this. And I've told you guys, some of you guys will remember me saying this to you, because when I talk to someone who is struggling in the business or trying to find their niche, or, you know, I always talk to you guys about why Malvis? Why should I use Malvis when I can use somebody who's been in the business longer, who's been this and that, right? Why Marina? Why should I use Rena when I can use someone else who blah, 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 right? There's always someone else who's better at something. Well, guess what? You're always that person who's better at something too. You just got to find out what that is, and you've got to create it. And one of the things I tell you guys, if you're new and if you're struggling, I tell you, go out Monday to Thursday and go to every new construction in a certain area and become an expert on that. They will talk to you. They'll be glad to sit down with you and show you what lots they have available. They'll email you all of their models. They'll do everything that you want them to do. They'll send you. So when someone is interested in new construction, Malvis knows more about new construction and Lake Nona than anybody else. Okay, because she was just out there last Monday to Thursday, and I'm making that up, but it could be anybody, but you guys get the idea, and it could be in any area. Know something better than anyone else knows it. Right, downtown Daryl? That's what you need to do. You need to know something better than anybody. You might have been in this business 10 years longer than Daryl. You might be 10 times more charming than Daryl, but you don't know downtown like Daryl does. That's impossible, Daryl. You don't know downtown like Daryl does, right? Because that's what he does. And if Daryl needs somebody that knows Lake Nona or St. Cloud or something like that, he's going to have to find somebody to help him probably. He's not the best person for it. And if I were going to buy in St. Cloud, I wouldn't go to downtown Daryl, right? I'd go to St. Cloud Susie. All right. So you guys, that's a good idea for anybody, by the way. So that's what new construction is real. It used to be, I think I've told you guys this before on these. I think when I started with FRI 6 years ago, it was maybe 3 to 5% of our deals were new construction. And that's when they were coming in the office and begging to meet with you guys and give you cookies and give you all this stuff and give you 6% and 4% and 5%. And now they treat you like garbage because they got plenty of business, right? But you guys also, that 288 units you guys sold last year is about 10% of our business now is new construction. So you guys realize that this is a real thing now with this seller's market. And look, you don't want to run around all over town making 11 offers for every buyer that comes along. Get them interested in that. All right. So I want to get that off my chest, but I want you guys to figure out what area you want to work in, figure out what builders you want to work with, go meet them. You got nothing. If you guys are sitting there, and sometimes if we're struggling, we get paralyzed. The bills keep coming in the end of every month and we don't have a check coming in. We get paralyzed. We don't want to get off our butts and do anything. It's just so overwhelming right now. Whatever it is, get in your car, a little bit of time, a little bit of gas, go visit some new construction. Okay.
And I have a question. There's an agent that I've been talking to from D.R. Horton, and I want to focus a little bit more on Polk County, Lake County, because that's the area, that's my closest. I do any county, but I kind of wanted to gear my business towards this area a little bit more in the future. And there's an agent from D.R. Horton that she's been sending me like their houses that are back on the market, you know, a PDF document with their prices. And can I use that information? She even sent me a video that was done by her in one of their models. Can I use that information and advertise that on my Facebook homepage, business page?
Get that permission from her, but I would imagine she would love for you to.
Okay.
But get that permission from her. Okay. But yeah, I'm sure that she would love for you to, but get the permission, have her email it to you, the permission. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
But I mean, of course, that's why they send this stuff out. They blast email me, people I don't know, that just get your information off the board or wherever they get it. And they blast email you about every sale they got going on and what this week's incentives are, et cetera, how many lots they got left. That's the kind of stuff that you need to know. Okay. But don't just sell those communities. Go out and see everything. All right.
Brian, is there a
Yeah.
place that we can locate a list of builders, new construction?
There's a builder on the MLS.
Mhm.
You mean, yeah. And I don't think they're all in the MLS. I know they're not all in the MLS. And this sounds simplistic, but if I Google right now, new construction Lake Nona, I'm going to get everybody who's building there. Okay. And it's going to come on a little map with the little pins in it of every new construction that's coming along there. So just put that in and hop in your little car and go do it. Okay. And really, I mean, it's no more, it doesn't need to be more simple than that. And one thing I want to talk to you guys about too, this is the time to be selling your clients. Sell them, let them know the bad news. We never want to give them the bad news. We always want to be their best friend. But sometimes you have to give your best friend the bad news, right? If you want to actually close a deal, you have to sell them. Create some urgency. Let them know, is it true that you better get an offer in now if you want to buy a house? You see a house, you better get an offer in on it. How many times have you guys called recently and, oh man, we went under contract this morning, Daryl, sorry, right? That's happening everywhere, right? I see people on Facebook complaining about it. Oh, just went under contract 5 minutes before I called. Well, better call an hour earlier next time, right? Get your client. And why don't you call an hour? Well, my clients didn't let me know they wanted it when we saw it on Tuesday. Well, you better get your clients moving. Let them know the situation. If they, I mean, will clients waste your time? Sure. Are they want to waste their own time? No. Don't want to waste their time. You don't want to waste your time. Get them going. But more importantly, you're not going to buy a house. And then they're going to wander into new construction without you. Or they'll wander into Tammy Pipkin's website without you, right? They'll wander into Susie Blue's website without you. So you got to sell them, guys. While you have their attention, you have to sell them. And I'm not telling you to lie to them or to, create a false sense of urgency or anything else. Act ethically. But are you doing the best for your client if you don't let them know that they better get their offer in right now if they want this house? Right? So you're not. Is it ethical to not do the best thing you can for your client? No, it's not. Are you going to survive in this business if you don't get your clients to write offers immediately right now? No, you're not. Because somebody else out there is going to get them to write that offer because they're going to be honest with them. Don't be afraid to be honest with your clients when it's bad news. We hate that. We hate telling them what they don't want to hear, but we have to. There's a psychology to it as well of sales, but breaking them the bad news gets people to move. Fear of loss is the strongest motivator. Fear of loss is a stronger motivator even than hope to gain. So people buy for fear of loss or hope of gain. Fear of loss is the biggest motivator people have. And they're going to miss out on this house. Or frankly, any house right now if they don't move. Okay? I've got some chat stuff here I'm going to catch up on. All right. So other things you guys can do. What else are you doing to create more inventory? What does this world need right now? How do you provide value right now? Tell you what would be valuable is what home builders are doing, which is providing inventory. What can you guys do to provide inventory? How can you get people off their butts to sell their house? Any ideas?
Prospecting.
Prospecting, and how are we doing that, Malvis?
I haven't been doing it, but I
No,
know the way to do it.
right.
Prospect,
So,
reaching
so-
out to people, keeping in contact with people that we have sold houses in the past, telling them how much their houses are worth right now and asking them if they want to sell and buy a new one or something else.
yeah.
You know, I would like to call it expires, but I still don't understand the direction of it because you got to be careful of the DNC list and how do you get the DNC list to cross-reference who you're calling. So I'm kind of not clear on this. So I've been wanting to reach out to expires.
Right. Okay. Expired. Sure. What about neighbors of people we've sold their houses? Are we reaching out to those people? Either door to door. There's no DNC list for that. Going door to door or mailers, anything like that. Are we doing that? Letting people know unsolicited. Let them know what their house is worth. That does get people thinking. And if you're the one to get them thinking, you're the one they're going to call. Okay. And remember, we sold their house. If Tammy sells a house in a neighborhood in Claremont, we sold that house in that neighborhood in Claremont. Okay. So if Tammy doesn't want to get out there and do it, somebody else needs to get out there and do it and let them know what their neighbor's house is selling for. All right. So unsolicited, let them know, kind of a half-hearted CMA, let them know what that is selling for, what their neighbor sold. It is a anecdotal thing, but what their neighbor's house sold for, right? They're nosy anyway. They want to know. You're giving them information that they want, and you're getting them the idea that they might be doing. But I like what you said, Marina, because, or Malvis, the former clients also. Especially when it's good news, especially when you sold them that house for 280 and now it's worth 320 2 years later. They want to know that kind of stuff. Okay. Especially when the market is going up, they want to know that kind of stuff. And you're telling them good news, which you guys love to do. You're giving them good news and you're letting them know, hey, if you guys need to, we can get you this much for your house. It makes them feel like it reinforces that they got a good deal with Malvis to start with and that what they can do next. Okay. And if you happen to remember the kind of house they wanted but couldn't afford before, show them some of that stuff. Okay. Reach out to your clients, guys. You have time. Reach out to your clients, grow your business.
Hey, Ryan, I have a question.
Yes.
I want to go door to door in an area that I'd like to start farming. I haven't sold any houses in that area, and I'd like to bring like a listing flyer to acquire a new business. What would you recommend putting on that flyer outside of just contact information? I was even thinking about maybe past sales or how to kind of lay that out. What would you recommend putting on a flyer like that?
Well, you can put stuff that we've sold. You can put stuff that you've sold. You can put stuff that we've sold, and just word it like that. We've sold blah, blah, blah. We sold your neighbor's house. Whatever it is, you can do that. Because we are a brokerage, we do business as one. We are a brokerage. We sold something. As long as it's true, you can use it. Otherwise, you don't have to use past sales. You can advertise yourself. But I like to get market stats for that neighborhood and put them on that zip code, whatever looks the best, and use that.
Okay, thank you.
Does that answer your question? Does that make sense?
No, definitely. I think the market stats, because I don't have any history on what we've sold in that area. So market stats would be good. I'll look that up. So a follow-up question on that. If I find some people home, whether it be role play, but how do you advise that conversation to go. I get someone home. Obviously, I'm going to let them know who I am and that houses are selling in the area and this is price. Have they thought about selling the houses? Any other impactful questions you think I should ask or something I could say?
It depends on how the conversation flows. Yeah, we can do some role play sometime. I'm happy to do that. We can do it privately or on here. We'll do it another day on here if you'd like. I'll put that on the list of open forums. But yeah, it depends on where the conversation goes, who you're talking to, how you're starting off the conversation, where it goes from there. At that point, it's just sales 101, face-to-face sales. So yeah, we'll talk about that another time. We'll do that on another open forum.
Thank you.
Anybody else have ideas on that? Yes, Tammy. Oh, you didn't. Okay. All right. I forgot where we were going next. Anybody else have any ideas or any comments about that?
Ryan, can I go back to the new construction?
Yes.
I know you were talking about the new construction, and it happens to me before, but a lot of the new construction, you have to go with your buyers, or else they won't register them, or they won't give you permission.
Okay, so this is part of what you guys need to figure out too. Every builder has a different rule for this.
Yeah.
So the one that I just had this situation with, you didn't have to go with them. They could have mentioned you when they got there, and that's a big builder. They could have just put your name on there when they got there. But a lot of them, you have to go with them. Some of them, you have to pre-register them online. You guys familiar with those? Yeah. Okay. So know your builder. That's part of getting out there and knowing your business, guys. Get out there and know your builder. I mean, obviously, they say you have to pre-register them online, and not only that, but at different locations. You can't just pre-register for all of their locations. You have to do it for each community. Correct. So you really need to learn what you're doing. I hear a lot of sad stories from you guys.
Yeah.
Right. And what I always tell you, may all of your learning, all of your lessons be inexpensive, but these are expensive ones when you guys miss out on new builds.
Well, what happens too, a lot of the buyers, you tell them, and they go to the new construction, and for some reason, the salespeople at the builders, they will ask questions, and depends on what they ask, or they'll say, can I have your ID? Buyers are thinking, oh, they just need ID to see who they are. But what they're doing, they're actually taking their ID and register them as new buyers. Now, when you show up as and happens to me, of course, when they show up now, they'll say, well, oh, they didn't have a realtor. What do you mean they didn't have a realtor? Oh, he showed up here. He said he didn't have a realtor. But it doesn't matter what they say. Is the question they ask, are you with a realtor? They can ask that and they'll say no. And they can put no realtors. So it's very important that you do go with them, because these buyers, like Ryan always say, like sharks, that's where these salespeople are. So very important in new construction.
So I have a couple problems with what happened with this other agent. And one of them is these people were told that deal was only good without an agent, and they were told that it had to be done that week. And so that is bordering on timeshare. What you can get out of your timeshare if they told you that you have to, that this deal's only good today. If that's not true, which it's not, they can't do that. That's misrepresentation. Right. So there's a lot of that goes on in new home sales, because like timeshare, they may only get one shot at them. So they try to box them in and sell them. These people are salespeople. And I'd like for you guys to be more like that without the misrepresentation, because when you guys are out showing houses to buyers, guess what? That deal probably is only good today, because that house is going to be gone tomorrow. A lot of times, if you get a house, you're showing it the first weekend it's available. What are the chances if you go into a house and if it's priced decently, and you go in and they put it on the market on a Thursday, what's the chance that that property is going to be available Monday? Pretty slim right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of urgency you need to create with your clients. But to go back to the new home sales, yes, they will do that. And that's why you have to inform them up front what kind of value you're going to bring to them in the new home buying process. Okay. They're not supposed to get a different deal with you than they would without you.
Correct.
They're supposed to get a better deal with you because you know what you're doing and you're going to negotiate a little bit better. But they're not supposed to get the builder is not supposed to give them a better deal because they came without you.
Right.
That is not how it works, or how it's supposed to work. If that's the way they want to make it work now, then we're going to avoid them.
I have a question in regards to that, Ryan. What if the builder says, well, you have a buyer who has already been pre-qualified and they have a preferred lender that they like to go to. You take them into new construction and they're saying, we will cover part of your closing cost as long as your buyer uses our preferred lender.
That they're allowed to do that. They are. I mean, if a lender wants to give them a better deal because they're foregoing. So what happens is a typical mortgage company is going to pay a loan officer, about half of what you guys get typically. So $4 or $5 grand to sign them up. So if I'm going to throw Lennar out there, if Lennar wants to send them to their lender, that's a free lead for them. They don't have a loan officer that they have to pay for finding the business. They've already found the business. They've attracted the business with their advertising. And that's just more money that they can make off these clients. So they're going to offer them an incentive that shows you how much extra money there is in mortgages. And yeah, they'll give them $7 grand for using Lennar Mortgage or whatever. And I'm making that up, but yeah, they can give them incentives for using that. And it doesn't hurt you. It hurts their mortgage broker who's been working with them, but it doesn't hurt you.
But I think when they say pay the closing costs, I believe, I could be wrong, but because some of my buyers have had still pretty hefty closing costs, like on a $500,000 house, it ended up being where the closing cost was the seller's side closing costs that they're paying, not necessarily the buyer's closing costs. So,
you have to read, Tammy, you have to read it carefully because a lot of times it's the loan closing costs. We'll cover the loan closing costs, but none of the other stuff. So it's just you use our lender, they'll cover your closing costs, the lending closing costs only. And a lot of that stuff is created. They'll say, yeah, you're getting a 3.25 mortgage with 2 points up front, which is ridiculous, but we're going to cover that for you. So they create false closing charges, and then they cover them for you.
But what they do too, they charge, like Tommy was saying, they charge a percent. The builder, a builder fee is 1%.
Yeah.
They give you $10,000, but they charge you 1% back.
right.
Title insurance, the sellers, title insurance.
Yeah.
Put that in there too.
Right.
So they give you 10,000, but you're not getting 10,000.
Right. Yep. It's a lot of false
Sellers. Like a normal seller paying their normal costs, and that's what's in those closing costs that they're saying they're paying is what I've kind of seen. But
The only thing is commission. The commission is the seller, but most of the other sellers' concession that they normally pay, they put it into that $10,000 and they put it into the buyer side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know Adul mentioned that people go without you and they get registered. I know that happened to Adul. We had a situation a couple of years ago with that, with a good friend of his.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, another thing I always tell you guys to do is a buyer brokerage agreement. And I don't care if it's your best friend or your sister or your brother or who it is, buyer brokerage agreement, guys. At least they will ask and they will say, they'll say, we signed something with somebody, and that will protect you a lot of times. Okay. Not just new construction, but everywhere. You guys, especially in this market where they're having a hard time buying something, they are finding stuff on their own, meaning another realtor's presenting them something that's available that day. They're wandering into an open house. They're doing whatever. They're more and more likely to wander into open houses and do all this stuff right now because they can't find anything. Yeah. And what do they do when they can't find anything? They start to blame Tammy, right? They start to blame Sabrina, right? Because they can't find anything. You can't find them anything. But my friend bought a house, but Sabrine Samuel can't find me anything, right? So first of all, what does that mean? Educate. Well, first of all, sell them, get them sold quickly before they wander off, and you're doing the best thing for them when you get them sold quickly. They want to find a house. Sell them quickly, educate them on what's going on out there, present the idea of new construction. You guys, we're turning these should be layup buyers into misses when we don't do this stuff.
When you have a new construction buyer, though, you kind of, you know that. And what I'll do is, because I know that on a whim, they could say, I'm going to go check this builder out. So I tell my people, if you get a whim and you want to go see new construction on Sunday, and call me, or if they go and they don't tell me, make sure you tell them that you have a realtor. And I did have a guy that did do that, and I knew he was going to go on some weird time, because they just get anxious and they want to like fulfill that inquiry that they have with an inquiring mind. So that was Orion Home, and they, I called them like immediately, and they said, no, he told us he was working with you and blah, 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 blah. So I do make sure I stress, do not go into new construction without me. Plus nowadays you almost need an appointment, so you can say that, like, you can't just get in now. They keep the doors locked and you have to have an appointment. And if you happen to stop by, make sure you tell them you're working with me, because you need somebody looking out for your best interest.
Right.
Yeah, like Ryan said before, free money, take the time, go. Spend
Yeah, I
the
have
time.
no problem going. It's just them going without telling you. You can't.
And they're
go.
going. That's the problem. They're going without you, and they're not even listening. That's the problem.
And Tammy, and yeah, and everything you just said is great, and it's absolutely right. But one thing that we talked about has changed is you don't know who the new home buyers right now are not the people who think they're new home buyers when they come to you.
Correct.
They're the people who are giving up, like you said.
I give that spiel to all my buyers pretty much,
Yeah.
because
Awesome.
they could just decide, oh, we'll just go to a new construction. I
Yeah.
know it. So
Well, right now, and right now, that's great. That's what you should be doing. That's exactly what I'm saying. And right now, that's what everybody should be doing, is go ahead and give them a new construction spiel right up front, because like Tammy said, they're going to go at weird times. Tammy will show them houses all day, Friday night, all day, Saturday and Sunday morning. And they'll say, I'm exhausted, I can't see another thing. And they'll drive by a community on their way home. And why not, honey? Let's stick our head in here. And then they'll call Tammy the next day. Oh, good news. We saw this new construction thing, blah, blah, blah. We gave them your name. And then they'll say, Tammy will call up and say, where's the paperwork I need to sign for this commission? Well, you weren't registered. You didn't register them online. You didn't come in with them. So just give them the spiel, like what Tammy's doing is perfect. However badly you want to go, don't go without me, or at least call me first so I can register you online. I don't care if I'm at the nail salon or on the golf course or whatever I'm doing. Call me first and I'll get you set up there. I'll get you an appointment where you get right in. And find out the kind of things that and some of this comes with experience, but find out from others or whomever the kind of things that you can negotiate for people. Get some third-party stories. I don't care if you do it right here, right now on this call. Give me some third-party stories of things that you have negotiated for your clients in the past. Right? I know some of you, I had one of you somebody got a free pool. This is 4 or 5 years ago when they were dying to sell these new communities down in Lake Nona. Somebody got a brand new pool. They bought a $600,000 house. They threw in a pool. That was their incentive, swimming pool.
Was that in the Winter Garden? No, Oakland, right?
Pardon me?
Was that in Oakland? Meritage Home or something like that? They were giving up.
Oh, that was in Lake Nona. That was 4 or 5 years ago when they were dying to sell houses.
Yeah.
And they were making apparently a ton of money because they could throw in a pool.
I saw that in Claricona, I think in Oakland. This was back a few years back. They were doing that too, free pool.
Wow. So you guys present your buyers with what you've accomplished before for people, or what other people in your brokerage have accomplished before for people, or other people that realtors can go in and get you this and this and this. Find out. That's why I want you guys to go sit with them. Go down to DR Horton and sit with Maria or Bob or whoever's at the front desk and sit with them, or in that first office there on the right, and sit with them and find out the kind of things that are negotiable. Find out what kind of incentives they're giving. Find out the kind of things that they can trade out to get. You know, these people don't want a fancy this, they would rather have a this, right? And you can trade out even to get it. Or it's an option, but it's really, really cheap and it's exactly what your people are going to be looking for one day. Just go in and find these things out. The salespeople, that's why I told you go Monday through Thursday. Salespeople are sitting in there typically not doing much. So that's the time they would love to have somebody come in and talk to them. Go in and find this stuff out. Become an expert at something. Why you?
Are there any stories from any of the other realtors on things they've negotiated for new construction?
You guys have any now? Any big wins we've had in new construction?
Monthly HOA fees. I've had one condo. I had, I think, almost $10,000 in monthly HOA fees paid from negotiating. I think that was in the View a long time ago when they just started out. As long as I kept up the price, as long as I kept up the purchase price, they were negotiating parking spaces, monthly HOAs, tons of incentives.
Nice. And that's what people will do. Also, these builders, they're no different than car dealers. And that you guys have heard me talk about this before. Car dealers are going to get you on your trade-in. They're going to get you on the sticker price, or they're going to get you on your financing. They're not going to let you win all three of those battles. But everybody has a hot button. So you go in and say, by God, I'm going to get $10,000 for my trade-in. I don't care what they say. And so you go in and you tell them, I want $10,000 for that. And they say, okay. Or, well, let me ask my finance manager about that. But first, let's look at what you're going to buy. And so as long as you use their financing and you pay full sticker price for that other car, we'll do the 10 grand. But you can't negotiate everything. You can negotiate one or two things. So it's finding your client's hot button and negotiating for that too. So find out what's important to them. You know, Daryl, I want to buy a condo downtown, but I do not want to deal with the HOAs down there. The condo owner associations are just so expensive. You know, they didn't say, I don't want to pay 500 grand for a condo. They said, I don't want to pay HOA. They're ridiculous. Well, how happy were they after Daryl said, you don't have to pay HOAs for a year. Right? So find out what their hot button is. People aren't reasonable when they're buying. They have hot buttons.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I mean, that's just one example, but there's all kinds of things like the pool. They weren't advertising a free pool. Our agent had someone who got a free pool. And I don't know what the agent really had to do with that. I don't know if they negotiated that or if that's just but they weren't advertising free pools. I'm sure that their client paid absolute full boat for this house if they got a free pool, right? Because nothing's free. Nothing is free. So, but it was technically a free pool because they didn't pay for the pool directly.
Quick question, Ryan.
Yes.
I have an investor that's interested in buying about 16 units of townhomes. And I've been going around the new construction to look, and I haven't been, successful in this area. Can anyone suggest where to go to? Or he's been pre-approved for about $5 million.
Pre-approved for $5 million. He wants to buy 16 townhomes.
16 to 20 townhomes.
16 to 20 townhomes. Wow. I don't know why that would be. Where have you had a hard time?
I've been to Kissimmee, and I have 2 appointments today as well to go see some new construction. And I've been talking off and on with some people over the phone. And I think there's a shortage. I don't know.
Oh, is there right now? Yeah, they can't build them fast enough, I guess.
Right.
But that's a good problem to have.
It is.
So, a lot of people would trade problems with you right now. But just keep working. Just keep working. I don't know of a bunch, just because you see them doesn't mean that they're available, as you know, from driving around and looking at them and getting excited and going inside and they're all sold already. or, or they can't sell them for 6 more months, whatever the situation is. So I know they're building them. I know they're building like crazy. Townhomes a couple of years ago were not wanted much. So it kind of lags behind because builders see they're not selling townhomes a lot. 2 or 3 years ago, they weren't. So they're not securing land for townhomes. They don't want it. And then now they start selling them a bunch, and now they're going to go secure a bunch of land for them. And then people won't want them 3 years from now. So it's hard for them to predict what people want. But why are people buying townhomes right now? Anybody know?
Cheaper.
The prices are lower than single families usually. Like a medium price is, if you want something in the high 200s, you have to get a townhome because single families are, unless you go to Leesburg or Arbandale or, this,
Right.
you won't be able to find anything for under 270, 250.
Right. And a lot of people are only approved for that. And so they've got to buy a townhouse or they've got to go out. Got to go out to the outskirts. And then nowadays, especially in a town like you're talking about in Orlando, toll roads everywhere. And it just eats up whatever savings you have anyway between gas and tolls. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the market too, with the change in the president and the Senate and everything else. What's going to happen with the market? I've been telling you guys that all these forbearances are going to cause people to have to sell, and apparently I was wrong because they're at least till September of 2021, September 30th. It looks like they're going to extend the foreclosure ban and all that stuff through September 30th of 2021. So people won't be getting foreclosed and won't be scared of getting foreclosed until later. I thought it was going to be this spring or summer that people will be forced to sell. I want to say a short sale or foreclosure necessarily, but forced to sell because a lot of people have equity. So it looks like they're going to be putting the foreclosure ban through September 30th at least. So, I mean, that's the word. It's not done yet, obviously. But that's the word of what's supposed to happen. So we were kind of hoping from a real estate standpoint for that inventory, but we're not going to have it, at least till the end of the year. If even then, who knows? So any other thoughts or questions?
Which that leads to a question that I have for you, actually, Ryan. Would you suggest a current landlord do month to month or do a 6-month lease right now for new tenants?
For new tenants?
Mm-hmm.
Depends on the HOA.
Yeah, with the HOA, sometimes you can't, but
well,
no, I don't see any reason.
If it doesn't have an HOA, I'm talking about non-HOA properties.
No, it doesn't.
I think that I wouldn't change anything. It's a great question, Daryl. And that's another thing I was wrong on when this whole thing started. We all were. We thought we'd have 40% of tenants not paying rent. It's similar to 2019. 2020 was similar to 2019 as far as delinquencies with our properties that we manage at FRI, which is a ton of them, and they're not high end. Most of them, they're around $1,000, $1,200 a month. So, and we were not up. We did not have a lot of people crying COVID. We had a lot of people paying the rent. So I'm not that worried about that. And there's supposed to be landlord relief also, by the way, in that same bill that's supposed to be till September 30th. Supposed to be landlord relief in there as well. But I would do business as usual as far as the landlord side.
Okay, just wondered what your opinion was.
And I think there's going to be help, and God knows how many packages there will be of help if they're not getting paid. So better to have a lease in there where you're supposed to be getting paid. So when help comes, you can say, "Hey, I didn't get paid," instead of, "Hey, I don't have a tenant," which I don't know if that's in the relief package or not. If it's sitting vacant, probably not. It's probably for people who lost out because of COVID.
Yeah. Daryl, what I do, I ask for like first and last on security.
Mm-hmm.
And usually if, if they can pay that, obviously they have money.
Sure.
But if they cry, well, I don't have that, then chances are you're taking a risk right here.
Yeah, if they have a lower credit score or
Yeah.
something, then I ask for first, last, and security. If they have a good credit score, and I'm saying like over 650 or something,
Mhm.
then I go with first and security. It's just right now I'm up against, and I don't really have any tenants that are having COVID problems. I had one that tried, but it didn't go anywhere. So now I'm looking at my new leases coming up and I'm like, do I want to do month to month? Do I want to do 6 months? And that's just what I'm debating right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't, nothing's going to change between now and September, it looks like. So,
I just saw that email came from Florida Realtor.
yeah, that's where I read that.
Yeah.
It just came out. It came out yesterday. I saw it. I saw something somewhere else, but I didn't want to pay to read it. So then I saw that. What else? What else do you guys have? Any questions? Yes.
I have a family looking to rent a single family in Orlando, and they are looking to stay below 1,500. If anybody in this call has anything.
What is it in Orlando?
I have a family looking to rent in the Orlando area for a single family home in East Orlando, and they like to pay under 1,500 a month. If anybody in this call has anything.
Good luck.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah.
1,500.
I hope it's a small family.
It's very small.
Okay, good. Good. Well, you might get lucky. Anybody else? Anybody else have anything?
Ryan, what is the solution to the low inventory? What are your suggestions? What do we do even for resales?
What do you, the solution for what? I'm sorry.
Very low inventory. You see about 5 to 6 families all for one property. You know, I went for a showing last night and it was about 4 of us waiting to see a property, a 3-bedroom home.
What price range was that?
It was $299.
Mm-hmm.
3 bedrooms.
Yeah. It's 350 is the new 250. I've been telling you guys, people are all over these, even up to 350, even up to 400. We're getting multiple offers on stuff.
Right.
So you guys, what are you guys doing? We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, I think, but what are you guys doing to make your offers more attractive? That's what you've got to do. First of all, you got to be on the ball, get there, show it. Second of all, you've got to get your client to say, yes, Joy, write the offer. That is the biggest thing. The time between you getting it and them saying, you can't control that. They've got to work, they've got to whatever, right? And that's their miss if they can't see it until Sunday and it went on the market on Thursday, because it's going to be under contract Sunday.
Hey,
Okay.
Ryan, this is Gina.
Yes.
Just an idea. I lost a multiple offer scenario over the weekend, and something that we did differently was that the buyer wrote in there the buyer was willing to pay the difference between the appraised value and the contract value.
Mm-hmm.
We still lost, but the listing agent told me that we were second out of 12.
Yeah.
So she liked it, but I guess not enough.
Right.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that practice? What did you do?
I'll repeat it for you.
Okay.
They offered to make up the difference between appraisal and purchase price, agreed to price. So if the appraisal comes in low, they'll make up. Let's say it was a 400 sales price. If the appraisal comes in at 390, they'll bring an extra 10 grand to closing.
Yeah, we're trying to get really creative over here with out of the box.
Which Gina, since you were the number 2, keep up on that listing agent with that property. Same thing happened to me in a 650 price range a couple months ago. We were the second person. The first person backed out and we got the house. We closed.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Awesome. So that's great, Gina. I really like that, because one of the things, I'm a very analytical person. If I'm working with a seller, I'm going to be talking to them about the limitations that we have and what we can get, regardless of how many. I don't care if we have 50 offers. we're still limited by appraisal to some extent. But if Gina's telling me I'm not limited by appraisal and she's willing to go above asking or whatever it is, now we're talking. Now you're winning. Okay. So what else are we doing? We know about escalation clauses. We know about all this stuff. What else are you guys using to win these things? Okay, let me go back to that though. Show the property as soon as you can. Get them off work, do whatever, show it as soon as you can. Get them to write the offer. Get them to agree for you to write the offer. Okay. Get them to make a strong offer. You can't be cheap right now. There's no low balls winning anything. So get them to write an offer and get them to write a strong offer. Otherwise, you risk wasting more time and missing on more houses if you're out there writing weak offers. Okay. Because now they're going to be getting their hopes up on 123 Oak Street, and there goes Maple Street, the house that they could have had also. Okay. So write offers and make them strong. If they're not going to write strong offers, they need to make a strong offer on a different house. All right. So, I mean, we're constantly, guys, this is your living. Educate, encourage them to make the offer, teach them about the urgency of the situation, about what's going on in the market. They're going to see it, but do you want them to learn for the next month, or do you want them to learn because you told them that first weekend? Right? Get them to make the offer on time because you guys are doing it and you're making strong offers, or you're ready to write a strong offer. And let me call the listing agent and verify that title company. Oh, they just went under contract. Right? So let me verify your email. Oh, what do you mean? It just went under contract? Right? So we're minutes late, we're hours late, we're days late, whatever we are. We got to get there and do it and make strong offers. Encourage your client. I mean, you can't make the strong offer. Your client has to agree to make the strong offer, but teach them what they're doing. The escalation clauses, if they don't promise to make up the difference between appraisal and purchase price, what good are they? Right?
Mm-hmm.
I can sell my house for 500 grand. It's worth 400. I can sell it for 500, but appraisal is going to knock it down. Right? Mm-hmm. So I don't care if you want to go up to 415 if you're not going to make up the difference between appraisal and agreed to price. Okay. So that's great. Thank you, Gina, for pointing that out. Any other ideas?
Yes, I put more money down in escrow. I don't know if that helps.
If you did what? I'm sorry.
I asked my buyers to put more money down for escrow.
Okay.
More escrow deposit.
Okay, good, because that's what as listing agents, that's what I want you guys to ask for, especially now with this loan approval period. You've got a hot property. You're going to take it off the market. Your seller's going to take his property or her property off the market for 45 days or 30 days at least. What do they have to show for it? Right? And a lot of times it's nothing. A lot of times on the 28th day, they'll get denied their loan or whatever, but at least we tried. At least we had something of, they have some skin in the game and they're not just going around tying people up. But yes, that does make it look better. And it's maybe not even relevant a lot of times, but it makes it look better.
I like to talk to my buyer's lender if it's just a pre-qual and get more than a pre-qual, get actually a pre-approved. And if I have to actually get the DU underwriting in a letter or something that they've already been approved by direct underwriting through the system. So they've got all their income approved, they've got their credit approved, they're ready to go. They are pre-approved, not just pre-qualified. I show that to the listing agent. I send that a letter from the lender to the listing agent. I get a hold of my inspector and ask them how far they are out with inspections. So I ask them, hey, can you do an inspection in 3 days if I write an offer? And most of them, my inspectors that I use say yes. So I can do it with a 3-day inspection period. So I've got them totally approved. I've got a 3-day inspection. I'm looking at, I'm the seller myself and I don't want to take my property off of the market for more than 7 days. I want to know whether it's going to close to these buyers or not. So I look at myself as being the seller and I'm saying, hey, what kind of offer, what kind of contract do I want to see? And that's exactly how I construct my offers.
Guys, I'm going to share something with you right now. I love that, Daryl. I want to share something on that vein right now.
I have a question about that as well when you're done, Ryan.
Okay. All right. So this is the second page of a pre-approval letter. Here's the first page. I love this. I shared this with you guys when it happened about 6 months ago. This is kind of what Daryl was talking about. I love this. This pre-approval letter, and this was the house that everybody wanted, and this pre-approval letter sold it. They've already reviewed their credit. Credit report has been reviewed and found satisfactory. They've already had their pay stubs. They had their W-2s for 2 years. They had their tax returns personal for 2 years. They had their bank statements. They had their sufficient assets have been verified to close the transaction. That is, if this is true, that is a tremendous pre-approval letter, is it not? Does that make your
Yes.
seller feel better? Does that make you guys feel better that this deal is going to close?
Yes.
And it did close. So there you go. That's the kind of thing. If you can get that from your lender, that's a great thing. And if you want to share something like that with them, you should tell them. That's the kind of pre-approval letter that you want. That's the kind that makes people feel good. All of those things are things that fall apart and the conditions that don't get met and all that stuff. You know, I mean, you guys have had this before. They get pre-approved, they're pre-qualified or whatever, and they're perfect. According to the lender, the lender's excited about them. Yeah, they can buy up to 500,000, whatever it is. And then, oh, well, now that I see their tax returns, I'm going to have to see some business tax returns. Now I'm going to have to see something else. And now I'm going to have to see something else. And they end up getting turned away. Right? Does that happen to everybody?
Yeah.
It happens. So, yes, Malvis, you had a question.
Yes, so with that type of example of a pre-approval letter, meaning everything have been detailed, analyzed by the lender, does that waive the financing contingency in the contract because all of that have been met?
No.
No, okay.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. There's still lots of things that can go wrong in underwriting and all kinds of stuff like that. And the house might not appraise and there's things that have been reviewed and they've been looked at, but they haven't been taken over with a fine-tooth comb. Their assets are going to verify that their assets weren't gifts, that kind of thing, or weren't loans.
Okay.
Sorry, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
That's it.
All right, guys. So to summarize, we're gonna sell because we're salespeople. All of your license say salesperson or broker on them. Salesperson, you're a salesperson. Sell these people. They want to be sold. They want to buy a house. Everybody wants to buy. Nobody wants to be sold, right? Get them to move. Let them know what's actually going on in the market. Are you doing them any favors if you're not selling them? If you're not letting them know how urgent it is that they put in a strong offer right away, right? And it's a very different conversation than we'll be having in 3 years when it's a buyer's market again. But right now it's a seller's market. If they want to buy, that's what they've got to do. So sell them, let them know all their options. They are going to wander into new construction if they struggle to buy for a couple of weeks. You guys know that. Go ahead and bring that option up front. This isn't something we had to do a couple of years ago because somebody would say, hey, Idul, I want to buy a new house, right? They say, I'm looking at new homes. Now they're saying, no, I don't want to buy a new house. And then they're going to give up after making some offers at other stuff or even looking at other stuff and seeing what it would pay and looking at the roof and oh, I don't like this. And I mean, we've all done this, guys. We've all seen these people who go from wanting to buy existing to saying, you know what, we'd rather just start with a new house. So present that option up front. We are selling 10% of our sales are that now. So it's real and it's out there. So let's do that. And let's make strong offers or we're wasting our time and we're losing our clients and we're wasting their time. Any other questions or comments?
Ryan, quick question. Can you
Yes.
put in 2 offers?
Not ethically, no. I mean, if you are making an offer, that's and you can put on these now for a quick turnaround time for these because otherwise you're going to lose them anyway. Do you want to make an offer on that house that you saw Friday night and give them all the way till Sunday afternoon to make a response? Probably not, right? Because you're going to be up there with 6 offers. A lot of times sellers, you give them a sense of urgency too when you say this expires in 24 hours. But your buyers need to know so they can move on. Because now if you tie them up for a whole weekend, that's why I don't want you out there making weak offers, because now you're going to make a weak offer that's not going to get accepted. You're going to give them 48 hours. That ties your buyer up. They should not be ethically making multiple offers in that time. Okay. Yes, you can make offers and just cancel on the ones you don't want. You can go tie up 15 houses and cancel. That's unethical. Okay. Because you're not serious.
On the offer, we went above the asking price last night, so by 5,000. So.
Okay. Well, good. But you know, a lot of times if I see when I am advising my seller, I am not just price centric because of appraisal, because of that kind of thing. And that's what Gina said about going above and beyond, because we're limited by appraisal. I want the strongest offer in every other way, the most likely to close, like Daryl's with the awesome pre-approval, or the awesome pre-approval I showed you. That's what I want, right? So a good agent will do that. There are bad agents who will just say, "Oh, look, more money. Let's sign this one," right? And maybe you'll get that, and I hope that's what you get, because then you're going to come to appraisal, and you're going to say, "Well, it only appraised for 15,000 under asking," you know. So what are we going to do? So that's what you want. You want a strong offer. People want to see if the people can do 20% conventional, that makes them feel better about them going over appraisal when it happens. If I see FHA, I know they're not going to go over appraisal because there's a reason they're only putting 3.5% down, and they ask for 3% back on the contract. That is not flying very well right now, is it? The 3% back? No, because sellers can get appraisal right now. The sellers can get at least appraisal right now. And that's where you want that's all you can do as a listing agent, is get your seller to appraisal or above, right? If we're doing that 3% back, then we know we're limited by appraisal. Minus 3%, that's ridiculous in this market. That was great 3 or 4 years ago. It's ridiculous in this market. Okay. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
I get talking sometimes. I forgot what your question was. But awesome. Any other questions that I'm going to forget? No. Anybody need help with anything? Abby's here. Abby's willing to help you guys with whatever you need. So let us know if you need help with anything. Is that it? We're all good?
Before we go.
Awesome. Well, go get them. Go sell them. Yes. I'm sorry, Richard.
What lead generation companies are you using? Anybody
using lead generation companies? What are you using?
I'm using realtor.com right now. They're doing a decent job. They're sending me quite a few. I'm getting probably 4, maybe 6 leads a week or so.
Okay. What does that investment look like, Daryl?
I'm paying, how much am I paying? $3.95 a month.
Wow. That's pretty good for that.
Nice.
And Richard, that's one thing you can do is you can go as big as you want on that. So he's doing the $3.95 package. There's packages for as much as you want to spend.
Okay.
So there's Realtor, there's all the other kind of vendors like that. And some I don't even want to talk about right now. But then there's the boom towns and all that kind of stuff too. And I think, you know what we'll do, Richard, we'll talk about this next week. I know that Tammy and usually Dalton's on here. They're doing some different things with AdWords and stuff like that too, or Dalton is, I know, and Tammy's been doing different things she's used Boomtown before and all these other ones. Anybody else using anything?
Past clients, referrals.
Okay. Jason, referrals. Yes. So Richard is down, and so, by the way, we've joined the Broward and the Beaches board down there. So if you guys need to use that or need access to that, Richard is starting a team in that area. So he is going to be growing and growing, and we're very excited for him. So
are we opening an office in Fort Lauderdale?
We're not opening an office there yet. Nope. Let's see how Richard does down there, and then we'll be talking about Fort Lauderdale.
Cool.
Right on the beach, if you could, Richard.
Hey, one other thing. Yesterday, I went down to West Palm Beach, and Pulte had a new home showing for realtors, grab and go luncheon. And I think as I was down there talking to the sales managers and the salespeople down there, I got a lot of information from them on how to sell their houses, what they're looking for, what the discounts are. So if you get out there and visit with these people, and I've been stopping at new home offices and just talking to the agents during the week. You know, you spend 10, 15, 20 minutes, look at their models. You start getting some referrals from them too.
That is absolutely awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Great job. That's exactly what you want to do. And that's
Starting route to 500 Orchid Drive.
And that's what you want to do when you're starting out and doing this stuff. Why Richard's team? You know, Richard realizes he's got to spend some money to get started up because Richard just moved here from California, guys. He's been with the company for a while. You guys have seen him on here before, but he just moved here from California, and he is starting up a team. He's got to spend money just like he would starting up any other kind of business. If he was starting up a sports bar, he'd have to start up with some money, right? With any kind of business, you got to start up with money. And where can he get advantages besides buying leads with money? What else can he do? So he's hustling and he's spending money, and that's all you can do, right? All right, Richard, we'll talk later about some other things too. Feel free to email me if you want, and we'll talk about some other things.
Great. Thank
Anybody else? Anybody else have any questions or comments? All right, guys, you look great. Have a great week, and we will see you next week.
Time to go
Thank
buy
you.
some champagne bottles.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.